Hey everybody, happy Tuesday early afternoon. We got another snowstorm coming in. What is up with all these snowstorms coming in March? I'm sorry I've been gone so long from posting. I've been busier with school, trying to apply for some jobs to then pick up around when the summer comes, etc., etc. This is going to be an update video on the NFL and what I think teams are going to shape out to be a little bit like on some way too early um, predictions, basically. This is Sports Fanatic News. I'm Joe Boric. Let's get into it. Well, we're going to start with the A's being alphabetical. The Arizona Cardinals basically went from Carson Palmer to getting the basically current version of what Carson Palmer was at this point of his career, which is Sam Bradford. Because Sam Bradford, typically when he's on the field, except for here in Philadelphia, typically does pretty decent, but he gets injured so much that the production is outweighed by the injuries. So it's a shock that he got 2 years, $40 million. Actually, it really isn't because quarterbacks are getting overpaid all over now. But it just think about it. Sam Bradford, $20 million a year the next 2 years. I hope he stays healthy because if he does, he's a good fit for the Cardinals. But health is the big thing, and they don't have a great O line, and they didn't do much to fix the O line. They also signed Mike Glennon, the Cardinals, if Sam Bradford doesn't get healthy. So there's the backup option for when Sam Bradford gets injured. But then Mike Glennon's also a decent step down. When Bradford's going at his peak and really playing well, Glennon's a pretty big step down as a backup. So there's that. They signed Andre Smith as an O lineman, so that was a good pickup for them because they definitely needed an O lineman. And then Josh Bynes, the linebacker. Now the Ravens are a team I think made some really good moves this offseason. Of course, they signed Ryan Grant to a very solid team-friendly contract. It was only 4 years for $29 million. Speedy wideout, converted from running back a few years back, but he failed his physical. And I am honestly not sure if to this day he signed with anybody. Let's see. He's going to sign with the as of 47 minutes ago, actually. There's an update that due to his failed physical, he's getting a 1-year deal with the Colts for $5 million. So there you go. That's going to help the Colts now. And if Andrew Luck's back, he got a good speedy wide receiver on the outside. They also signed John Brown, which is kind of the Maclin wasn't that productive at this point of his career, so it's kind of the Maclin replacement. John Brown might even be a step up in that type of Baltimore offense over Maclin because he's not just that speedy outside guy. He can do some other stuff too. Also, not sports related, but I just got an update on my phone. Apparently, the snow total has been updated to a foot. So that sucks. But anyway, moving on. They also signed guard James Hurst, who was one of the better guards in the free agency, so they bulked up protecting Joe Flacco. Then obviously the Bills. The Bills moved on from Tyrod Taylor, who's now on the Browns, which is probably the best move for them because they can't develop quarterbacks for crap. So probably good to just have a decent one right off the bat, and then you're set. AJ McCarron got a 2-year deal with $10 million, a very team-friendly contract. He's finally got his chance that he deserved to be able to see if he can become a starter in this league. They got Cadet, who's a decent running back, along with Tywan Jones. Star Latelli, they got for 5 years. He's a very good D tackle. Kyle Williams, they kept for a year, good D tackle. Linebacker Stanford, very good. Raphael Bush, a solid safety. And then Trent Murphy, a DN. But now, obviously, the Panthers got Torrey Smith via us. They got Banner and then Julius Peppers, Dontari Poe, and then Bashard Breeland also failed his physical, so I don't know if he's on a team yet or not either. Short Breland is still a free agent, and it doesn't have an update that he's signing with anybody yet, so that held him up. And then the Bears obviously signed Chase Daniel, who will be the backup to Mitchell Trubisky, who is probably a very good quarterback to be able to mentor a guy like Mitchell Trubisky. They have some similar qualities, and Daniels has just been a very good backup his entire career. They got Tyler Bray, a young quarterback, Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Trey Burton, Aaron Lynch, Sam Macho, Prince Mukamara, Cody Parkey, who they gave a big contract for to be their kicker, Pat O'Donnell, so good for him, and Kyle Fuller. The Bears really bulked up their team this year, and they're trying to give it to Mitch Trubisky. They're trying to give him that team that he can take that big step in his second year. So it's going to be fun to watch out in Chicago as the NFL season trends, and I think they will have a better season this year. I don't know if Chicago will make the playoffs right by just adding everybody in one season, because you kind of have to gel together, and you still have that young quarterback that we have to remember has only started like 13 games in college. So I think they could get to maybe the 8-win thresh mark and then just keep moving up, and then the next year they'll make the playoffs. But it wouldn't 100% shock me if they made the postseason this year. The Bengals were able to keep Eifert on 1 year, which kind of surprised me. Corey Glenn they got from the Bills, Preston Brown, Kevin Humber, and they also signed Matt Barkley for a 2-year deal. So, Matt Barkley, maybe he's coming up for Andy Dalton's job. No, I'm kidding. And then obviously the Browns, you said, got Tyrod Taylor. They got Carlos Hyde, who's a very good pickup for them. Jarvis Landry, Darren Fells, Chris Hubbard, Donald Stevenson, Chris Smith. Yes, this is the Browns. Demarius Randall, who they traded for basically a rock from to the Packers. T.J. Carey, who they signed for 4 years, a very good corner. And Terrence Mitchell is a very good corner, too. The Browns are trying to finally, it's like Josh Peck says in Drake and Josh, when he exclaims everything, finally trying to actually be something. Now, whether it works remains to be seen because it's the Browns. But at least they're attempting. Cowboys have literally done nothing. Nothing zilch zoppity-doo. The Broncos got Case Keenum to be their quarterback for the next years. They also got Todd Davis and Trumaine Brock, all good signing. The Lions re-signed Zach Zenner, got Kenny Wiggins, who adds to protecting Matthew Stafford, which is big for them. They got LeGarrette Blount from us, who's a great pickup for them. They got Tavon Wilson, Deshard Sneed, Nevin Lawson, Devin Kennard, and Christian Jones at linebacker. They really made some good pickups this offseason. The Lions are one of my higher-ranked teams in terms of making very good moves this offseason. The Browns are honestly in the top 6. And then the Eagles are up there because the Eagles made some finesse moves that people would just kind of what the hell, as did the Browns for the Steelers cornerback. But moving on. Houston got Sammy Coach, who was claimed off of waivers, who has the potential to actually be something, because he's a very athletic guy that's a speed threat that can get out there. So Deshaun will be back. Maybe he can make him into something. They also signed Bruce Ellington for 1 year. They got Santrell Henderson for 1 year to help at O-tackle. Zach Fulton to help at the line, too. Senio Clemente to help at the line. They was the best line signing. Kept Jonathan Joseph. They got Aaron Colvin, Jonathan Betamessi, Tyrann Mathieu. They recently signed to 1 year, then Aaron Colvin. The Colts really did nothing other than sign Danico Autry to a 3-year deal. So a lot of people were kind of mad up there. Jacksonville kept Marquise Lee. They got Dante Moncrief, Austin Seferian-Jenkins signed with them. Niles Paul signed with them. Andrew Norwell to bulk up their line. Lorente McCray, DJ Hayden, Cody Davis, and then Don Carey at safety. The Chiefs did a lot of Smaller stuff, the Anthony Thomas re-signed. They got Sammy Watkins, which is the bigger thing. Jarvis Jenkins re-signed. Anthony Hickens was their big thing at linebacker. And then they got Kendall Fuller from a trade with the Raiders, so we'll have to see how he fits into their defense. Terrence Smith they got for 1 year. Chargers got Virgil Green, who I think is an underrated tight end who will probably become very good with Phillip Rivers. Sofield, Adrian Phillips, Khaled Sturgis, and Mike Pouncey. Rams, Aqib Talib, Marcus Peters, Nicole Roby, and John Sullivan. And then for the Dolphins, they got Albert Wilson, Amendola, Josh Sidden, Kilgore, Robert Quinn, William Hayes, Walt Atkins, and John Denny. The Vikings, who are a team that I think got better because Kirk Cousins, I think, honestly fits better in Minnesota than he did in Washington because he can spread the ball deeper there because they got guys like Thielen, they got guys like Diggs, they got a lot of guys that go deep. Their running backs come out and run those wheel routes and down the field a lot. So I think he honestly fits there better. And then Keenum fits well in Denver because they like to spread the ball down the field too, and he's able to do that. So if they kept Keenum, I think they would have been fine. With Cousins, though, I think they have a little bit of an upgrade. They also signed Sean Richardson and got Trevor Siemian to be Kirk Cousins' backup, you would presume. New England kept Rex Burkhead and also signed Jeremy Hill. Got Adrian Claypool, Jason McCourtney, Nate Ebner, and Howard Arrell Patterson. The Giants finally got a running back that's worth a damn. They signed Jonathan Stewart for 2 years, so now the Eagles are going to have to stop him. But we did well last year when we played him. So they got Nate Soldier to finally do something to their O-line. They got Teddy Williams, Curtis Riley, Cody Latimer, Mark Smith, Kareem Morton, who was a bigger signing, and Ogletree in a trade from the Rams. So they got a few really big moves and then smaller moves. The Giants for a Eagles division team. And the Jets, no one knows what the hell the Jets are doing because they signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 1-year, $5 million deal, apparently to be Josh McCown's backup, because they signed also McCown to a 1-year, $10 million deal and apparently promised him to start. So, no one knows what's going on there. They did pick up Isaiah Crowell, though, to add a good back to their field. I do not know how to say this guy's last name, so I'm just going to call him Ben, the decent lineman. Spencer Long agreed to a deal with them. Excuse me. Mike Pennell agreed to a deal with them. Avery Morrison, Trumaine Johnson. Those were big signings. Morris Claiborne, honestly, is a bigger signing because he could be one of those comeback players that finally become something. So that's an out of the blue, could be big signing. Terrence Brooks, and then Cairo Santos as a kicker. The Raiders made some good moves this offseason. A lot, actually. They got Rahan Melvin, a solid corner. Tahir Whitehead, a really good linebacker. Justin Ellis, a really good D-tackle. Lee Smith, a solid tight end. Derek Harrier, another solid tight end. So they added two there. Nelson Keith Smith, a good fullback. And then Doug Martin, who I think will bounce back with them. And then they signed some smaller guys like Gilchrist Wright, DePalo, and Tank Kerrigan. The Eagles, of course, got Michael Bennett, who's been already theatrical this offseason for the good. It's been very funny. It's been great how he's been trashing our NFC East rival. And then they got Nada, who's another great guy to add to that D-tackle, DN position. Linebacker, Bradman, we kept for 5 years, which he's still younger, so that's a good contract for him. Corey Nelson, we got for 1 year. A cheap deal who has the potential to be a solid linebacker, but is a 6 special teams player. Darryl Worley, we got in a pretty cheap trade from the Panthers, and we wanted to move on from Torrey Smith. He's still young, has the potential to be a good corner, and is a very good special teams player himself. For the Steelers, did nothing but sign running back Fitzgerald Toussaint. For the 49ers, they got Jarrett McKinnon for 4 years, which is great to add him to the backfield to have Jimmy Garoppolo. They got Weston Richburg for 5 years, which is a great center to have to protect Jimmy Garoppolo. Brock Coyle, Jeremy Atachu, Richard Sherman adds great stuff to their defense. And then punter Jeff Locke. Seahawks got Marcus Johnson from us. They also signed Ed Dixon, Barkevius Mingo, Bradley McDougal, and Jaron Brown. Bucks got Fitzpatrick. So Fitzpatrick, Brake, Clark, some of these guys they kept. Some of the guys have been saying the guys that they have you have noticed guys that the teams have just kept, but they put them on the list on CBS. Bo Allen, Mitchell, and Brett Grime, Keith Tandy, Chandra Costanzo, Ryan Jensen, and then Vinny Curry, another guy from the Eagle. Tennessee Titans got Dion Lewis, which is a big loss, a bigger loss than most think, I think, from the Patriots. Josh Klein, Daquan Jones, David King, and Malcolm Butler, who's going to be a bigger loss for the Patriots than I think they're bargaining for. Redskins, of course, got Alex Smith, who I think actually fits better with their offense because Jay Gruden doesn't throw the ball down the field damn near enough. So Smith is a better short passer, so maybe match made in heaven. Paul Richardson for 5 years. I thought that was a little steep for him years-wise, but what the hell. Brian Quick, Zach Brown, Dustin Hopkins, and Orlando Scandrick. So that wraps up going over the free agent signings. There's a couple guys still out there, either due to failed physicals or just kind of being lingering around like the MLB free agency is doing. I'm going to start posting videos again when I can. This has been a NFL update video. Now, for the last minute of the video, I'll give some prediction. I think the Vikings will be around as good. I don't think they'll be better than 13 wins because that's a really good total. I think they could get to 13 wins with Kirk Cousins, but they'll definitely be in the 11 to 13 range and be pretty much as good of a team as last year. Us, the Birds. I think the Birds will be pretty much as good of a team as last year or a win above. And Broncos. I think the Broncos definitely got better with Case Keenum. And with that defense, with now having a quarterback that can actually keep the ball on your side probably for a longer continuum period of time, they could actually be a solid team. And then obviously you got the 49ers that are probably finally going to become relevant. The Browns can finally become relevant. That would be huge explosion in the league. And the league kind of needs these teams like the Niners, like the Browns. The Ravens made some great moves this offseason. They need the Eagles to remain great, the Vikes to remain great, because the league lost some viewership last year, but if all this fire, in terms of like good fire and excitement, comes into the beginning of the year, that stuff will come right back, that viewership, that fanship, everything. So this has been a update video on the NFL. Enjoy your Tuesday. Enjoy the snow if you like that stuff. Have a great day, everyone. Peace.